Hello there, I'm Treanor. And joining me for this session, ESG in the Boardroom, is the Global CEO for Siemens Energy, Christian Bruch. Christian, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Eithne. Pleasure to meet you. Thanks for having me.
And we have a lot to get through in this quick 10 minutes here, but let's talk about the energy transition which is going on at the moment. And really, when we look at it, how can corporates be more proactive and to actually think and act actually better when it comes to environments, when it comes to social and corporate governance, the ESG principles?
Yeah, thanks, Eithne, for the question. And I mean, it's at the end, like with all the subjects, it's about focus. And if we talk about ESG, I mean, you have to put it into the core of your strategy. And why do you put it there? You don't put it there because you just like to do it or because it's nice or people like it. It's in one of the biggest investment risks we are seeing in a company. And so if I talk to my investors, they want to know from me what I'm going to do with ESG because they are concerned about the future and because they're concerned about their investments. And in this regard, it must be and become a core part of the strategy. And with this, it also obviously requires the attention of the CEO. So, for example, in Siemens Energy, me as CEO, I'm at the same time the Chief Sustainability Officer to make sure that we really drive the agenda on ESG forward. There's a lot of things to do. We are by no ways there where we want to be, but it's important that it's really becoming a vital part of the strategy.
And of course, part of that strategy will be alternative fuel. And I know you're working on so many things. And actually, congratulations now on the recent hydrogen partnership here in Abu Dhabi. Tell us a little bit more about that. And indeed, perhaps you can also tell us maybe why we don't see hydrogen really, deployed in a large scale right now.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And this is very close to my heart. I'm more than 2 decades now in the hydrogen business, and I'm extremely proud of the achievement which now has been achieved, and we are honored to have now 2 partnerships actually lined up in Abu Dhabi, and the first one as a strategic partnership with Moderator in terms of really driving forward the way of green hydrogen in Abu Dhabi and in the UAE in general. And obviously the second partnership looking with Master Etihad, Marubeni Group, and also the Khalifa University of really driving forward green hydrogen, so photovoltaic powered hydrogen, and then looking into mobility applications. So could be cars, could be buses, but also all the way down to kerosene, so aviation fuels. And I'm super fascinated by it because the Middle East, and I think UAE in particular, will play a key role in the future world when we transport renewable energy from one place to the other. The fantastic thing with renewable energy is it actually is produced in a lot of cases somewhere where it's not always fully be consumed. And particularly Europe or certain places is going to be a high demand of really import of renewable energy. And the Middle East and UAE will play a key role in this, but you have to convert it into a transportable fuel, which could be hydrogen and which could be another molecule like kerosene. Why is it not taken off, as we all like to see it, and as we're also fascinated by it? The boundary conditions in the market are today not set up to justify a commercial model on green hydrogen. It's simply too expensive. So we also all, as an industry, have to see that the boundary conditions need to change if we want to make it commercially fly. And this will take changes. And this is something what I think these type of partnerships and projects drive forward to make understand what is the boundary conditions which need to change to pave the ground for renewable hydrogen.
Yeah, indeed, there's so much to be done. And all of this, of course, will be ultimately helping, the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 7, when we're looking at affordable, reliable and sustainable and modern energy, for the world. But how can current stimulus and recovery measures, what's going on right now, actually accelerate the energy transition around the world?
Yeah, I mean, what if I see the past 12 months and all the stimulus programs and discussions which are happening currently, what really has changed, and I say it as a person who has been more than 20 years in the hydrogen industry, the stimulus programs have triggered an urgency understanding across the board. And it's not only the governments, it's particularly in the industry. And it also triggered or created a platform of people to talk, communicate and collaborate. I have never ever in my professional life had so many discussions with other companies of what are we going to do for the future. And the willingness to openly collaborate is extremely high. And this was triggered by the stimulus programs and saying, hey, we have lots of money. What are we going to do with this? Tell us, industry, what you want to do. And I think in this regard, this collaboration piece is enormously important. And this has been really triggered by the stimulus program. And we ourselves see that there is a willingness really now to put money on the ground and try certain things out, even so commercially not yet viable. And I think that is an accelerator now.
And indeed, perhaps not yet viable in many countries as well, because we really have to look at the fact that more than 850 million people around the world are living without access to electricity, particularly African developing countries. How do you think that we can maybe accelerate this access, essential access to electricity, while protecting the climate, and pursuing the SDG goals as well?
Yeah, I mean, it is obviously finding concepts which really are overarching and really integrating the different things. I mean, take Africa. I have a lot of discussions at the moment of really electrifying whole countries. And we have the opportunity to do it on a way of really having learned a lot of lessons in the past decades. While we now bring more people access to electricity, we really have to embrace the learnings from the past and the future opportunities and really bring it together in an overall concept, because it's not just about generation of electricity. It's a question on how do we store, how do we distribute, how do we minimize losses, how do we manage demand side. And this is something where, this overarching picture can help us, and this will once again be a need for collaboration.
And when we think about that, how are you actually going to roll something like that out? I mean, when we look at developing different transition paths, I suppose, and road paths for different regional challenges, and I've heard you before talk about country roadmaps. Is that more significant than individual standalone projects, or indeed, one size certainly doesn't fit all? How to do it?
Yeah, I think at the end, it's always good to have a plan. And this is why I like these roadmap approaches, because you need really to structure your acting. And we have done obviously successfully certain roadmaps or country electrifications and bringing power to people. We have done it successfully in Egypt. We're doing it at the moment in Iraq. We are discussing it in several countries in Africa at the moment. And this is, for me, the foundation of really then to decide step by step what makes most sense and what has impact. And in this regard, yes, I do believe this bringing together a roadmap and a plan creates more value than looking stepwise into single projects, because it is a complex system. You're trying to combine generation, transportation, and storage of energy. And you try to combine it with an outlook on the demand side. So that is complex, and this is why I believe these roadmaps and country plans are vital. And this is why also we have provided a lot of effort in the last year.
And indeed, I don't think anybody would disagree that it is indeed very complex, but also we look at this as a big global challenge, and really there's nobody out there who can go it alone. Talk to me about the partnerships that you have put in place and how essential they are right now.
Yeah, I think this is probably the one thing which is the biggest change in the industry I do see for all of us. The challenges of the future we can tackle alone. Nobody of us, also not ourselves, has all the capability in-house really to tackle these challenges, giving more energy to the people and being sustainable. And we are obviously have it in our behavioral principles to be open and inclusive, to take on partners, to learning, to open up, to share IP, to really generate jointly solutions. This will be absolutely vital. It will only be possible in collaboration modes, because also the borders between, or the limits between customer and supplier do change, right? And there's so many things in a transforming market. Collaboration is key.
Now, of course, talk to me about digitalization. This is the very, very heart of what you do. Digitalization, new technology. Is it the driver, or can it be the answer?
I mean, at the end, all the challenges of the future, we only tackle really with technology. I'm an engineer by heart, I have to say, and I do believe technology can do a lot of good things. So at the end, we will need smart solutions. We will need really digitalization, because we need to manage processes. And digitalization is something, it's not a technology, it's everywhere, right? You cannot avoid it, you will have it in. And it also drives a change of perspective, looking differently on things, as have you done over the past decades. And this is why we do need this. And I'm a strong believer at the end, it's about technology and implementing this with good engineers, good people, finding right solutions, and really bringing together people and innovation.
And indeed, that is what it's about, the people and the innovation. But let's have a look from the investor viewpoint. ESG is absolutely essential right now. And while I think the world realizes it is the good thing to do, earlier I picked up on what you said also too, it makes economic sense. Can you just perhaps address that for our audience in terms of being able to do both?
Yeah, no, and I think honestly, the SDG targets have been picked extremely smartly. And I, regularly pick these up and then look on the different ones. And we selected, out of the 17, we selected 5 for us, which are particularly relevant. And then you look on these and you see actually, hey, I do need this to make my company better. Take gender equality, right? SDG 5, right? I do know that more diverse teams are better. I do know that they are more innovative, right? I see this. So they fit absolutely in my plan to build a better organization, right? And decent work, economic growth, right? Yes, absolutely. We see, particularly today with all the inequality, how dangerous it can be if you do not drive this. It's a risk to the economic system if we do not drive this. And as we discussed already, this innovation and infrastructure piece in terms of collaboration. So for me, it's really guardrails, which is common sense to build a better world. And we don't do it because of just nice reasons, as I said, because we do it because we believe this will create a stable and safe environment in which we as a company can prosper. And in this regard, I'm extremely impressed by the wisdom by picking these 17 targets. And it's really on us as individuals to take these on and really frame strategies around it and take them on board, but also bring them to life in our companies and in our behaviors. What are exactly we're doing different by looking on these targets? And it fits well, I think, also to the interest of the investors, to my shareholders, because at the end, these are the elements and levers which I need to drive value in my company.
And also, I mean, I suppose it is about leading from the top, but also making sure that you have buy-in from everybody, because I suppose if everybody is heading in the right direction, this is where, the true success is going to happen. What do you think?
No, absolutely. And we have as our purpose, we energize society. This is what our people are motivated by. And this is where it comes together. This is why people come to work. This is why people want to do extra hours and do everything to be successful. And in this regard, I would absolutely concur with you. This is really what motivates us every day.
And again, hopefully makes your job in the boardroom a little bit easier, because I think when you got everybody on board then and the whole company is backing it, it's a matter then of moving that to your suppliers, to the industry, and to the greater community. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight to take this time and have this conversation with you. I'm really, really happy that you have joined us. Thank you.
Eithne, thanks very much for the talk. Stay healthy and all the best. Thank you.
And indeed, once again, that was the CEO of Siemens Energy Global, Christian Bruch. Thanks again.